All right, today, come here, Hoss. we're gonna talk about some real stuff here. We're gonna talk about racism, and we're gonna talk about slavery, and we're gonna talk about how our nation is full of a bunch of fucking hypocrites. You know, no people don't want to be judged by the color of their skin. Watch out, dude. Hey, come on, over here. You can be in the picture. Come here. Hey, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. You can be here. Okay? You can be here because I'm not racist. All right? I have nothing against dogs, and I have nothing against people. But there's certain people that have something against me because of the color of my skin. They say, well, but Whitey did this, and Whitey did that, and Whitey. I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? Should we not be judged on the merit of our own character? Hoss, come here, lay down. I know, you just want to be part of this, huh? Yeah, you just want to be part of this. Here, lay down. Lay down. That's a good boy. That's a good boy, huh? Alright, so here we are, back to it. Slavery. I just told him what to do and he did it. But he's an animal, and I care for him. I feed him. And I feed him, and I take care of him, huh? And that's what's happening with America and around the world is people are being taken care of and they're being treated as a slave. There's a lot of people who they think that because because they're saying something against a race that has been responsible for some oppression. I mean, I have to admit that, you know. But we have to realize that not every white person is willing to harm another person. Not every white person hates somebody because of their color. Hi. Hi, how are you? Good morning. And so, when I when I say blaming Whitey is racist, people laugh because they're like, "Oh, whatever, you're white, you can't be racist, you can't." Yeah, that's what's happening is we're being divided and conquered. The people that wish to keep themselves in control keep us out of control by keeping us hating each other. You know, Martin Luther King, he had some really good stuff to say, and people have seemingly forgot the message that's been delivered by so many different messengers. We should love each other. We should appreciate the diversity that individuality and differences bring to our experience. Right, Hoss? Yeah, because you bring different stuff than she brings, right? It'd be a boring place if everybody was just like me. Yeah. I know, huh? So the problem isn't with Whitey. The problem isn't with blacks. The problem isn't with the Mexicans. The problem isn't with any immigrants. The problem is with control. Because most of the time, it isn't the individual that's stealing from you. It's an entity that wishes to control you that is stealing from a certain amount of people and giving freely to another amount of people. And then you get this animosity because, well, they're taking my money and they're taking they're picking up the free cheese that's being left out. Are you gonna blame the the cat if there's some free food left out over here and they just grab it as they walk by? because that's about how easy our welfare system is. Our welfare system is taking money that is stolen from people by force, and it's giving it to other people who are rolling around in an Escalade, and they got the brand new cell phone, and they've got the nicest clothes, and God forbid they even get dirty. But it's creating an entitled society, and that's what's killing us individually. We lose dignity when we don't take care of ourselves. I mean, this cat right here. I mean, she hangs out here, but she takes care of herself. I mean, sometimes I share some food that I've purchased with her, but a lot of times she just takes care of herself. She catches mice, and I have water out and available for her, because the basics I think we should be helping each other with. I mean, to provide for people's needs is quite simple. It's when we are providing their wants. Not everybody doesn't need their own apartment. I mean, and all of these apartments that the state is paying for, we're subsidizing the rent, we're subsidizing these things. The corporate owner of the apartments, they're making a lot of money off state money. And so they like to promote that everybody needs to have their own apartment, of course. And everybody needs to have their food card, that they can buy the Doritos, and they can buy the steak, and they can buy all the junk food, because a junk food creates a junk body, and we are what we eat. So if we're eating junk, and we feel like junk, and we're acting like junk, we're not doing much in our lives. So I mean, if we first off, it surely isn't the poor people's fault, and so we shouldn't be punishing them, but we should end corporate welfare first off, and we should reduce benefits to needs instead of wants. You've got people just pumping out kids because they keep getting more money. I mean, when I was a kid, if you wanted state assistance, you went down, you stood in line, and when you have one kid, they say, all right, we're going to help you out here with this one, but you start having more kids, we're not going to be increasing your amount. But then you don't want the kids to suffer, so we're perpetuating the problem, and it's snowballing. It's that snowball that starts off as this little idea at the top of the hill that, hey, we want to make sure that people are taken care of, and we should be. I mean, we live in a modern society. I mean, the efficiency and the technology that we have available that creates that efficiency should be a benefit, but we're seeing it as a detriment. And for a long time we've been suffering, and we only suffer because of our ignorance. And ignorance is really not that big of a problem, because once there's a desire to learn a different way, that desire turns into growth, and it busts the ignorance. And I mean, there's a lot of ways that we're doing things that have been advertised to us, and we have to realize that if things have been advertised to us, that somebody's making money off of it, and it's usually creating dependence on something. If we're all doing things a certain way, a certain outcome is going to happen. But if we start recognizing the options that are available to us that really create freedom in our lives, freedom in our relationships, we'll start stepping into a better tomorrow. And I, every time I've gone to a comedy club, I get the, oh, KKK's represented here, huh? What's going on, man? And I'm like, what's this bullshit? And I was like, why would you think that because I don't have hair on the top of my head that I hate people? I mean, monks, they don't have hair a lot of times on top of their head. And I don't think many people associate hate with being a monk. So we should stop judging people by the way they look. I mean, I'm wearing camouflage today. Holy shit! I must be a radical militarist. No. I cut my uniform. I cut my monkey suit, my costume. Still use it because they're pretty handy, but I cut my ties to serving that because I served it for almost a decade. And I realized that our military is more serving the will of the bankers and the economy than humanity. So I quit. We need to realize that there's a lot of stuff that isn't right. And we're not doing a lot of things very naturally. And for that, we're suffering. Not all of us. Some people have a really big, nice house up in the popular part of town, and they got the brand new cars, and they got the maid that comes in on Tuesdays and Fridays, of course, because somebody's got to push the button on the little robot that goes around and sweeps and he sweeps and vacuums, right? But those people are the few. Those people that are affording the housekeepers, they are the few. They're not the 1%, but they're like the 3% or the top 5%. And there's a whole bunch of us that are going paycheck to paycheck. And you're just hoping that paycheck doesn't stop, because that could mean when we live in perpetual debt, like rent, that you lose your shelter. If you lose your shelter, you might lose your kids, if you have kids. If you lose your shelter and you don't feel like you're doing well in life, you might take your life. Here in America, just in America, I read some numbers that kind of coincide with the other things I've read. That about 2,700 people, or 2,700 was how many people are killing babies every day, roughly. But roughly 2,200 people a day are killing themselves. 2,200. I mean, in the military, veterans are killing themselves at a rate of about 22 a day. That should change. We're living in a screwed up society if everybody's wanting to take their life. Nearly 16,000 people every day try to kill themselves. Luckily they're not good at it, or they're just reaching out for actual help. Racism is bullshit. I've met really, really good people everywhere I've gone. I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Turkey, I've been to Egypt, I've been to Ireland, Germany. I've been to Canada and Mexico, and I've been all over the United States, and everywhere that I go, I've met cool people. 99.9% of the time, I meet cool people. People that are just like you and me. They want peace in their lives, peace in themselves, peace in their surroundings. They'd like to enjoy a few things that they like to do. They're not afraid to work for what they want. But we've been divided for a long time. Pharaoh did that in Egypt, and divided the people and said, No, 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 no. Yeah, of course you should hate that person. Did you know what they did? Do you know what one of those people did? And we're going to blame the whole bunch of it on that 1% that's willing to act up and act out, and demonstrate hate. You know, roughly 1% of our population are psychopaths. They don't care about other people. But most, they seem to get a lot of media. They get a lot of attention. But 99% of us are just good people. We don't want to hurt anybody else. We just want to live our lives. We want to work on little projects, or we want to experience things in life, and that's being it's being squashed by the media and by this culture that we live in that has got people fighting against each other and not living peacefully. It's actually pretty easy to live peacefully. Do no harm and take no shit. I mean, I don't have people aggressing against me. Most people that know me know that if you try to punch me, I'm going to do what I can to stop you. If I see you raping a kid, you're likely to end up worm food. I joined the military because I thought I was going to be helping people. Realized that there are better ways to do that. So, anyway, we went on a couple tangents there, but racism. Racism is fabricated to control us. I mean, I guess I'm racist too. I'm part of the human race. I got these 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. Most of the time I walk upright. And so does most every other human I've met. We should start focusing on our similarities and things that we want to co-create rather than our differences and what we want to devastate. So, the change starts with each of us. Within ourselves, we have to be willing to say, you know what, I'm not going to hold hate. Apathy runs pretty rampant in the world today. People don't give a shit about each other. I mean, they do, for the most part. As long as they look like you, talk like you, live next to you, and, we should extend our awareness and our circles to the globe. Really. I mean, there's a lot of things being thrown away here in America that are useful for other people in other places. So instead of filling our landfills with useful material, we should ship it to people that can use it. I mean, that's my daughter. She came home from daycare one day and she says, "Sharing is caring." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And she was. And when a little kid can realize the benefits of sharing, I mean, it shouldn't be by force. It should be voluntary. Because if anything's done by force, somebody's placing a claim of ownership over you. And I believe that each one of you is a free, beautiful, independent human being, as I am. I found freedom, about as much freedom as you can find in my life. There's, still things I have to do if I want to maintain a certain way of being. I mean, if I don't pay my property taxes, even though I don't use the services that are paid for by the property taxes, and a lot of them I don't even believe in. If I don't pay those, they will send men with guns to kick me off my property. And then everything that I have, they won't try to make they won't try to have a yard sale or something. They will just hire a very expensive contractor to come in and clean out all of my things, and they'll charge me for it. And if I don't pay it, well then, it's just another debt that will be on your record. There's a lot of things that we can be changing in the world, and we should start. It's time. It really is. We have the internet. We have a little tiny electronic device that I'm looking at right now that enables global communication. When we globally communicate and we locally participate, we're going to have efficiency, we're going to have accountability, we'll see the product of our effort. The people from all over the place, they're doing some amazing things. The efficiency in which we can be living life can build a whole different world than what we're experiencing right now. But we have a lot of people following just what they've always done. Well, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always had. Different action creates different results. But we have to be willing to change. If I'm looking up at the sky and I see a cloud that I really, really like, I'm like, holy shit, that's like the best cloud I've ever seen. Example, of course. And I try to hold on to it. And as I watch it blowing away, or separating, or changing, and if I try to hold on to that, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to feel like nothing cares about me because what I love has been taken away. But we have to learn to experience things and then release them. Because when that cloud goes away, it's making room, it's creating a void for something better to come into our life. So when we recognize the benefit, or the lesson, or the humor in everything that happens in our life, we recognize the benefit. We recognize the experiences happening for us instead of to us. And the internet, it's the apocalypse. It's the unveiling of information. The truths are coming out because people can share all over the world. And once it goes viral, it's really hard to be silenced. Ideas are bulletproof. So are our souls. But so many people are associated with just this skin suit, the mud monkey. But they're afraid to die. Dying is every bit as natural as being born. We're just giving back what we borrowed from the earth. There's a lot of room for growth, but we need to be stepping towards it. Right now we have a lot of people being highly entertained and undereducated. With the resources like the internet, you don't need school. You don't need college. You don't. Well, for some jobs, you need that. You need that training. A lot of jobs are best learned on the job training. Watching, participating, doing the minuscule tasks while you're witnessing the complicated ones. And when you've watched complicated tasks be performed often enough, it becomes something that you can just do yourself. The first day I was a plumber, right? I didn't know how to make all those pipes fit in the right way and keep them inside the wall and make them so where everything is going to work just right. But then you pay attention and you start doing things, and now I can plumb anything. It's pretty much the same with everything that we face in life. Practice makes perfect. So if we practice being independent, and we practice voluntarily participating in everything that we do, I'd like, if you get one thing out of this, I would love for you to Google or do an internet search of voluntarism, and just got a couple basic premises that are aligned with natural law and that can really build a peaceful society. Self-ownership and a non-aggression principle. Recognizing that the only legitimate means of violence is in self-defense. Or defending somebody else. But we shouldn't be initiating force against other people. Unless they've created a victim and they need to be incarcerated, isolated from society so they can learn some skills. But our current system of incarceration doesn't really teach people life skills. They give them 3 hots and a cot and a television. A tell-a-vision to watch. Tell-a-vision might be shaping the way many people are looking at things. Anyway, that's my talk for the morning, and yeah, let's quit this idea of racism, because we've got people just snarling at each other because they've got different pigment. And really, look at me. I'm black. Right here. And down here. And over here. And right here I'm red. And right here I'm brown. And on my belly I'm kind of white. We're all colored. We have different originations of where we come from. That should be a good thing. Not something we should be killing each other over. Thanks. Like, share, subscribe, and let's change this place. People voted for Obama because they wanted change, and we got a lot of change. And no one man or small groups of men or women can do what we can all do together. We need to be taking individual responsibility for what's going on in our lives, and stop supporting theft and coercion of others for the things that we want. Because if I want, I don't know. If I want food, well, I grow it. I just put a seed in the ground, and when it comes up, I eat it, and it works pretty efficiently, and it's pretty healthy. I like it. It tastes good. But if I didn't know that I could just put a seed on the ground and put some water on it every once in a while, and it grows food, maybe I would vote for somebody that would give me a little card that enables me to go buy food at the stores instead of getting it from the source. Phonetically, it sounds almost the same. Stores and source. The gross restore. At least they have a producing section, right? The implications are quite significant when we're getting from the stores rather than from the source. We should eliminate the middlemen, because with any numbers of middlemen and when things aren't happening most naturally, there's little accountability and there's little efficiency. But when we do things most naturally, we do have accountability. We do have efficiency. And we can have peace right here on this this third rock from the sun. We could have peace here. But we need to stop listening to the perception of authority that says, hey, Mr. Costume wearer, go do this. And they're, it's not something that they would normally just do on their own accord, but because somebody else told them to, I'm just doing my job, so I'm going to do immoral things. Well, that's not an excuse, and it shouldn't be. I mean, if when I was a little kid, if I beat up on my sister, but I told my mom, well, somebody else told me to do it. Well, she's a smart woman. She would have just whooped my ass, because she says you need to be responsible for you, and just because somebody else tells you to do something doesn't mean you should do it. I mean, if somebody told you to jump off the bridge, would you? I mean, come on, we need some common sense again, because it doesn't seem that it's such a common thing anymore. So, anyway, good morning. Namaste. Let's bring peace into ourselves, peace into our surroundings, and we can change the world with small actions. But there's over 7 billion of us now. So if 7 billion people each perform one small action, we're actually ending up with pretty significant influence there. Let's do it.